My name's Big Keys.
Anita Whitaker.
I'm Bruce.
Mum of 4 boys.
My name is Sarah Woma.
I'm 45.
I'm 31 years old.
I was born and raised in Church Road.
I'm from Church Road.
Living here in Church Road, Harleston.
I never left the area. Growing up as a kid, I liked it. I liked my estate.
There was such a strong sense of community.
We was a community. We was together. There was togetherness.
Music was a strong link here in Church Road, especially back then.
We've got a real community vibe around here.
I felt like, you know, we were on top of the world here. You know.
It's all for one for all kind of situation.
It was exciting to be here as a teenager.
As a kid, I remember being like 4, 5, 6, 7, around by myself. I didn't need my older brother, I didn't need no sister or no one like that. I'd just be out with a bunch of kids my age and would go places.
I felt confident as a teenager growing up around here. When the old white flats were pulled down and there were the new buildings built there, it created change and transformation in a way of people were moving out that used to be here and part of the community that I grew up with. New people had come in and it kind of separated communities that were initially here.
I grew up in Church Road for probably 14 years of my life until I moved out.
Growing up here, spent a majority of my life till I was around 18, 19. I mean, the area is very warm and loving. You know, everyone looks after each other, but as you're aware, there is like post-Cold War gang wars where rival members come to the area and try inflict damage on like other people.
So around 2016, a kid was shot by a drive-by shooting over here.
When Oliver Tetlow was shot, I think I was in my bedroom. My husband was down here and he said, "Did you hear that?" I said yes, and then I heard screaming and one of the neighbours knocked my door.
One of my friends that died on this road, James Owosu, he got shot at his doorstep. He was literally heading home and the rival gang thought he was someone else. It was mistaken identity, and they caught him at the doorstep. And yeah, very sad story. He died in his mum's arms.
Gunshots became, I guess, a regular thing at one period in the area.
To the point where actually it was nicknamed the gun capital and murder capital of the UK.
So you get used to it, I guess. You become desensitized in some ways. And I guess more people stay indoors. And if they're not indoors, they're going out of the area.
Knowing the infamous, you know, rivalry between Church Road and Stonebridge, from when you're young, you know that you can't go to certain places. On the left, when you go to Neasden, it's a rival area. You can't. Some people won't be able to go there because of issues that they have with people from Neasden. When on the right going towards Willesden, Willesden's a more neutral area, but because it's neutral, that means other rival people from other places can also go there as well. When you go towards the right near Stonebridge, again, it's a no-go zone. From people from Church Road aren't really going to go over there because they know about the rivalries and it could potentially put themselves in danger going to that area. When you go straight up towards the left here, that's Harlesden. Now Harlesden is quite a neutral area, again like Willesden, but it being neutral, there's a potential possibility we could meet people from a rival gang or whatever, which then puts you in danger. As you can see from the park just next to me, look how it is, how it's damaged and hasn't been repaired, and it's been like that for many years now. Yet, as you probably saw from the apartments down the road, and even from behind me, as you can see here, these were all built while that park was still broken and still damaged.
My favourite place growing up in my neighbourhood, I probably don't have one.
Youth club, that's a couple-minute walk, like 3-minute walk. Yeah, growing up, I spent a lot of my time there, you know. It kept me busy. After school, I would go there, homework, games. There's a lot of things to do, but then the government just cut all the funding. They cut all the funding towards the youth club, so there's nothing for kids to do. They're just on the road, joining gangs.
There was something called Acorn Boys Club growing up here. You know, I'll never forget it. They really done like well for the community, for the people that were involved. They took us out summertime, they'd take us camping, you know, we do a lot of things for a week. We go camping, and obviously when we go out there, just have fun and enjoy. There's a lot of memories. No, it closed a long time ago, yeah. I don't know, that you'd have to ask the people that closed it why.
The best part of living in a community like this is the youth, where you're innocent, you don't really know what's going on, but yeah, now it's changed because government's closed the youth club, so the youth are, if they're not in school, then they're on road getting into trouble. That's the easiest way to put it.
School expulsion rate is quite high, which is leaving a lot of kids nothing really to do. Do you get what I'm saying? So if we're not having any, again, it's come back to, if we're not going to have any intervention to stop these kids from going down certain paths, they're going to go down certain paths, you get what I'm saying? And then you can't blame, oh, but there's so much knife crime and this and that. If you're not really tackling it from the source, yeah, you can put all your funding into police and jails, but it's the classic phrase, isn't it? Prevention is better than cure. Like you're not really allocating funds to the right place and to try and prevent people from going to that stage. Instead, you're trying to deal with the people who are already at that stage.
We do things and we have to take responsibility for our actions, yes? But there's another aspect to it. There's another aspect to it where we can only be products of the environment we're in.
This neighbourhood is 60% black, and I'm black, and I want black people to do well, and for that reason, our surroundings are impacting the way we think and the way we feel and how we feel about ourselves. And if you're walking around Hull on a day-to-day basis and this is all you've known, you're going to think this is normal, right? And that's the issue. Like, poverty is normal, and it's not normal, but it's been made to be normal.
Regeneration gives the opportunity to create change in a positive way, and I think that it can often have a bad name. You know, regeneration, people think of, they link it with the word gentrification.
Blacks moving out, or minorities moving out, and white people moving in. That's how I see it.
That's because people aren't aware of how much their own voices, their own thoughts can be taken on board and can be taken into account with the regeneration process.
So this is Curzon Crescent. This used to be a post office, and they've changed it into luxury apartments, which I don't know who, like, locally around here is going to be affording a luxury apartment, you know what I mean? So I don't know whose community it's for. So they've built it. I don't know if it's for my, well, it doesn't feel like it's for my community because it's not, it appeals to us because it's a nice looking at, but who's going to be in it? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be one of us locals. I think it's going to be an outsider.
As much as I'm like, yeah, regeneration's a nightmare, I am a product of regeneration. Like, this house, this flat is new. So I've actually benefited from regeneration, and I'm actually living on this street, and this entire road is new houses. But then at the same time, like, okay, so how many of them are social housing? I don't care if there's like new houses, that's lovely, but how many of them are social housing? How many of them are council flats? How many of those are going to mothers with kids that haven't got places to live? How many of them are actually temporary accommodation? How many of them are actually affordable rent? We need housing. We do need housing. We live in where there's an issue with social housing. We don't have enough housing for people. So when there is new housing being built, ultimately people get quite intimidated because it means, oh, gentrifiers are coming. They're going to come and they're going to buy up our property and I'm going to have nowhere to live.
We're just participants of the area.
You have like gentrifiers moving to London from all over the UK and they like move into like this area that is like impoverished and like, it's amazing. Oh my God, I love it here. And you're like, no, like my friend died at the end of that road. How can you love it here?
This is my community, but it's not for me. It doesn't reflect me. They're doing a lot of things for the community, but for who?
If there's anything I would like to build in this area that could potentially improve the area is a gym.
A studio. A big studio, a big top-of-the-notch studio, which can get all the kids in. Film, media, music.
When I say gym, there's kind of no health facilities, there is no training track, there's no running track, there's nothing really, anything that gives people any type of motivation. People want
better shopping experiences, cleaner streets. Cleaner streets comes up so often.
The environment is crap. The smallest thing that I recognised the other day when I was walking down was just the rubbish, like this, like small rubbish, like everywhere.
People want to feel safe. People want job opportunities. People complain that you know, their children wouldn't be able to afford to live in the area. People want affordable housing. People want education opportunities.
Give the kids, the children, the youngsters, more opportunity that they can actually turn to somebody and look up to somebody. Because if they have no one to look up to, they're going to end up looking up to the people on the road that's actually making big money from selling drugs.
There are tons of really big business locally, but it's been able to connect that. And that's something that we're discussing with the OPDC, because they're working with Park Royal, which is like the biggest industrial area, one of the oldest industrial areas in London. And there are some multi-billion-pound companies and international companies right on the doorstep, but there's not really a connect to the community and not really an understanding of young local people of what's on their doorstep and what opportunities are there. I think there needs to be more social events to bring people together. Once people are together through social events, it builds a rapport and it builds up a strong community that are willing to talk together.
But obviously it's not all bad, you know. There's some successful artists that have come from housing, like Gappy Ranks and Nines, just to name a few.
Everybody seemed to be musical and everybody had a studio, and you know, I was friends with every sound person around and, you know, carry boxes so I can get into the party for free.
We've always been creative around here. We've always been creative, like even before the lights and the cameras and the whole world wanted to know what Churchill was saying. Like, if you knew about us, you wanted to hear what we had to say, because it was just like, we was always creative with it, you know?
Whenever there's a regeneration, it comes with pots of money to support the community. And it's for the community to say how that is going to be spent and how that could better benefit them. And I think with young people, if they recognise how important their voices were and they spoke out more, then they would have that support in whatever it is they want to do, whatever idea, project, education, job opportunity. If they said, this is what we'd like, it would make a huge difference. It can make a huge difference. It's so important that people speak out so that more voices and more thoughts can be heard, and this can better inform the regeneration process.
When I write, I feel free, liberation, alive. No matter your situation, all you need is motivation and inspiration. Where we come from, these ends amazing. We go together, but we end up in separate places. We them diamonds in the dirt while we step on pavement. With them stars hanging by the tree but ain't for decoration. You either keep it real or you gas like the petrol station. The youth these days think they're big and tough, but like stir-fried food, they're just mixed in stuff. You can find your inner self on this big black bus. That's unity for the community, plus music, knowledge and opportunities. When I make it, we gon' shine like some jewellery. The wheels on the bus go round and round again. Come to my ends and stretch. That's violence around the bend. That's NW, count to 10. London, it's like a snakes and lions, it's like a circus where we come from the way that we juggling. We some role models, but we ain't modelling. When you're building, they try to knock you down like a game of Jenga. You see Justin, he's the influence, but he ain't got influenza. My life's private, I don't answer to private callers. But these guys just shout me for a live performance. Life's a beach, so sometimes we dive in waters, but I would have drowned if it weren't for United Borders. Yeah, cool, just in time.
Okay.